Hi there, hope you're all doing well. The next warband I'm getting painted up is the Blackpowder Buccaneers. With this warband, there really is only one option for me to make a video about, and that is Gorlok. So he was black and white zenithally primed, and I get started with Faust Blue for the outside of his coat. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been working on. Starting to bring up the areas of the jacket that won't be in shadow, I went on with Shadow Blue, which oddly enough is not the shadow colour for this triad. Finishing off the outer jacket, I went around with Frost Blue and just touched up the edges and tops of the folds. For the inside of the jacket, I start off with Berserker Red. This is also for the sword hilt, but I didn't notice that I missed it until I went on to the next colour. To push the red a little bit brighter where the light will be hitting, I went on with Sanguine Scarlet. Getting the tops and the edges of the red done now, I grab Demon Red and just touch these parts up. Now for all of the leather parts, I went with burnt umber as the base colour. Bringing up the edges and added in some variation, I used Satyr brown, mostly in the areas towards the top and facing upwards. For the edges and some more scratchy marks on the leather, I went around with Sunny Skin Tone. All of the bones now get started with Skeleton Legion. This is probably a mistake doing them now though, as I make a mess of them when I go back to doing the base. The highlight on the bone parts now gets done with Elfic flesh. Moving on to the skin, I start off with a base coat of Argonaut skin. Getting the mid-tone into the skin and leaving the darker tone in the recesses, I grabbed Kronos flesh. To finish the skin off and bring up the raised parts a little more, I went around with Ares flesh. Now for a fairly long part, the beard, base, trousers and chest all get a once over with lead grey. This is where I basically undone most of that bone work on the base and had to go back over it afterwards. The first batch of variation on the grey now gets done with Eidolon grey. For the last highlight on the grey, I used a medium sea grey. I used this to bring up the upper strands on the beard, the edges of the trousers and the wood grain on the chest. For the base, I just dry brushed it on around in some random places to get some variation. Now that I have done the beard, I noticed there are some beads and gems in there. These, along with the stitching on the coat, get started with leather brown. Getting a quick highlight on the beads and stitching, I went with plague brown. Moving on to the metal parts, I started off with a once over of gunmetal over everything. I went for this over everything just in case I missed something, as I really hadn't decided which parts I wanted to be copper at this point. Now that I have decided which parts I want to be copper, I went over true copper and just gave them a once over. For a little highlight on the silver parts, I used Mythril blade, as some of them are quite large. I needed a bit of variation just to make them not look boring. Getting started on the washes, I used Archaic Sepia wash over the leather parts and the smaller areas of the skin. The second wash is dark tone wash over the base and silver parts. On the blade, I only put this around the joint of the hilt. To finish up, I gave the base room a once over with Doom Death Black. And that will be it for Gorlok. It took a while to get painted up, about 2 hours with the touch-ups from me making a mess on some of these parts, which isn't too bad considering he's the only really member of this warband that isn't a familiar. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on. If you want a closer look at this mini, you can check out my Instagram page. For those of you who want to pick up your own warband or just some painting supplies, there is an affiliate link in the description to Wayland Games. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, don't forget to drop it a like and subscribe for more content. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.